Mike, what do you do? It's not a trick question, Mike. Simple answer will work here, buddy. Okay. Mike, you be my boss. One morning, Mike asked me to perform a perfectly reasonable task. And as soon as Mike asked me to perform this task, I challenge him. I respond to him by saying, well, why do I have to do it? Mike, you don't ever make Cindy or Geneva do this. Uh-oh. Now Mike has an employee who is challenging his authority. Ladies and gentlemen, if you were in Mike's shoes and your employee just said, well, why do I have to do it? How would you respond? Because I asked you to? I heard someone over here say, because you're the best man for the job. Here's the problem. If you answer that question using any approach, you will have just defended yourself to a subordinate. Once you defend yourself to a subordinate, who immediately gains power? The subordinate will. The employee will. You just handed your weapon over on a silver platter by defending yourself to somebody who you don't owe a defense to. I just defined a clear superior-subordinate relationship here. Let's go to the scenario again. I gave you clues all throughout the situation. Let's see if you picked them up. The very first clue was my body language. Did you happen to catch that? Hands up on the hips, cocked over to the side. Body language is huge. Dr. Albert Moravian, a psychologist at UCLA, conducted a classic study back in the 1960s on how we communicate. And he concluded in this study that 55% of the way we communicate is based on body language. So before a single sound comes out of my mouth, Mike should already have a pretty strong suspicion that I have disdain for management oozing out of my pores. By the way, if you're not good at reading body language, I'll demonstrate why you should be by asking a very politically incorrect question. Who tends to have more body language, men or women? Women have more body language. And consequently, women are much better at reading body language. Us men are not so good at this. For example, a small gesture that women will do with your head and your neck, about 24 of you are doing it right now, ladies. Women are head tilters. You would never see Mike doing this. Watch the difference in interpretations. Men do not answer this next question. This is just for the ladies in the room. Ladies, just for you. If you were in a conversation with another woman and she slightly tilts her head to the side, all this means is that she is listening. See, fellas? That's secret woman code right there. Ladies, those men don't know that one. 500 men were surveyed and they were asked, fellas, if you're in a conversation with a woman and she slightly tilts her head to the side, what does this mean to you? Most common answer from men, she wants me. It's called the gender gap. So my body language should already give Mike a pretty strong suspicion We got a serious insubordination problem brewing here. That same study at UCLA concluded that 38% of the way we communicate is based on tone of voice. So if you combine those two together, it means 93% of the way we communicate. It's called nonverbal acuity. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. And the very first sound out of my mouth was the huff. Did you catch that? Then came the big question, why do I have to do it? Ladies and gentlemen, if Mike is my direct supervisor and he has just asked me to perform a perfectly reasonable task, it's not unethical, illegal, immoral, or fattening, do I have the right to question why I have to do it? Yes or no? No, I do not. Very special graduation ceremony going on that day on Parris Island. Anybody know what American institution has its training base located on Parris Island? United States Marine Corps boot camp. You just try responding to your commanding officer in the Marine Corps boot camp with, why do I have to do it? You'll learn a whole new meaning of the word boot. This is the textbook definition of insubordination. But as if that weren't bad enough, I went from being only insubordinate to then becoming argumentative. I tried to actually get Mike to change his mind by saying, Mike, you don't ever make Cindy and Geneva do this. Ladies and gentlemen, is it any of my business whatsoever what my co-workers Cindy and Geneva are doing? No, it is not. It is completely irrelevant. In fact, Mike, I don't even care if you have called Geneva selling heroin in the break room. Again. Doesn't mean I don't have to do my job today. So Mike cannot afford to answer the question, because if he does, he empowers a dysfunctional employee. Here's how he responds instead. These are 5 huge words, and you'll want to listen very closely to this because it's another one of those gold nuggets. Are you ready? Mike's response is, that is an inappropriate question. That is an inappropriate question. This accomplishes 2 goals simultaneously for Mike. First, he does not reward my bad behavior by giving me what I want, which is to put him in a weakened defensive position and to empower this dysfunctional employee. But just as importantly, he is defining a boundary for the future. He's saying, Glenn, not only will I not answer your question, but you don't get to ask that question again in the future. You're out of line, Glenn. Step back. This is really critical, ladies and gentlemen, because if you reward the bad behavior, you'll be giving that little girl the Barbie doll at Toys R Us.